A one, a two, a three, a four. Sandland, a land of sand, a land of sand, a land of sand, a land of sand. Dooba doobop, doobop, day, ba dooba doop doop doobop, doobop, day, ba dooba doop doop doobop, doop 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 doop. Doobop day, doop 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 doobop doop doop. Dabba doobop, doop doop doobop, dooba 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 ba na ba dee ba dee ba dee ba dee ba dee ba ba na ba dee ba dee ba dee 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 boom dee ba dee ba dee ba dee ba dee ba dee bing 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 dee ba dee ba dee ba dee ba dee bing 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 ba da ba da ba da ba da doom 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 ba doom ba doom 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 doom. Doobop doom doop doobop doom dop doobop day dop doobop day dop doobop day dop doobop day. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It's great. Back with yet another fragrance review, and this time it's all that jazz. It's all about jazz, but not the music, and not me trying to fool around, doing as if I could do any sort of improvised jazz. No, as you could hear. But Yves Saint Laurent very much knew what he was doing when he released Jazz, the fragrance Eau de Toilette pour Homme in 1988. Jean-François Lati was also very much knowing what he was doing when he created this fragrance in collaboration with the late great genius Yves Saint Laurent. Why? First of all, it's an entire package that we're talking about here. First of all, the name. Okay, the name is it's a very classy name. It has to be, the fragrance really has to live up to a name like that, you know, jazz. Jazz is a incredibly influential style of music, right? That captured so many great artists, influenced so many great people, saw so many great people perform, and up to this day is incredibly popular. So you had all this and you had to present this in a fragrance. Wow, very brave. Then the marketing had to sort of, you know, get the vibe of this, get the mood of jazz, okay? And they did that with a fantastic TV ad, okay? I remember that. It was nothing like all these boring TV ads with a man seducing a woman and a woman smelling the neck of the man and they're half naked rolling around on the beach or in the bed or wherever. No, forget about all that cheesy shite. No, this was about, you know, well-dressed black and white ad, first of all, well-dressed, funky, jazzy young people living the city vibes somehow in a classy, jazzy manner. It was a French type of way of approaching the music, and you know, kind of bending over into the English version, American, and then back to French. It was fantastic. It was really, really nice, really well done. And as I say, black and white was the TV ad, and black and white indeed, as you can see here, was the original release, the original packaging of the bottle and box of jazz in 1988. So this is how it came out back at the time with this funky, you know, letters, jazz like the notes in music and funky jazz notes, and it was all very, you know, eye-catching and very, you know, ebony and ivory, like the keys on the piano, right? That's the type of scenario that was really much projecting, okay? But it was young. It was jazz in a young and sort of urban, funky, jazzy way, okay? Because obviously jazz is, you know, it was nothing new in 1988. It was something that, you know, it was way past, you know, rock and roll and punk and heavy metal, and all these different genres of music were out there ever since jazz first started. But somehow this, you know, reinterpreted the genre of jazz in a totally new, fresh, urban, kind of young way, okay? So what was the smell like after all this? Very classy and very sophisticated, very urban in my opinion, very energetic in a classy way. Jean-François Lati, who is the nom de parfumeur behind this fragrance in collaboration with the great late Yves Saint Laurent, They have done together a great job to create a real classy fragrance, and obviously that was the main aspect here, because jazz, forever in time, as a music genre, will be, is already classic and will be evergreen, in decades to come. And so they needed to look at these fragrances and say, we can't create something that's gonna be forgotten off the shelves in 5 years or 6 years time. They needed to create something which stands the tests of time. Okay, and this absolutely did. First of all, when this came out in 1988, it was immensely popular. And I think it must have been selling very well, because you smelled this everywhere, you saw this everywhere, and a generation or two generations of people, of young, at the time young people, like in their teens, had their fathers wearing this. I have a lot of friends that say, oh yeah, jazz, yeah, my father wore that, and my father wore that, and my father wore that, my big brother wore that. So somehow jazz managed to find its way in every single household somewhere where there was a male in his 40s, 50s, maybe around, okay, 30s as well. Absolutely, so jazz hit like a bomb, definitely. But then obviously times changed, and the 90s saw a lot of new directions being taken by the fragrance industry with CK1 and all the aquatic stuff that's been started with cool water and different directions, right? Yet jazz remained out there. It still remains out there. Okay, it has changed its appearance, however, during the course of its time. So now, I have two different versions here. This is the initial first one, 1988 one, and this is a version that is not the latest in the current, because they have reintroduced the entire classy Yves Saint Laurent line together with Pour Homme and in love again for the women's version, and why, the old one for women's again as well, and obviously the male ones as well. And they've reintroduced this with this kind of, this version that you see here in front of me here, in front of you, which has this full black version here, and then a little bit of glass here below. The current version, if you walk in a Sephora in Paris, for example, we'll see jazz still around, but instead of this black part, it's a full glass part, and jazz being written up there in front. So the reintroduction even has changed since 2011, I think, was the time when they reintroduced this one, and they very nicely done this, listing the notes there, and it's very nice. It's kind of bulky, stuff. I'm not the greatest fan of this because I like to carry my fragrances around. Yet, if you manage to carry around a decant with you, it's fine, and you have it with you as well. Although it does not really need reapplication. So let's get to the smell. The smell, ladies and gentlemen, wow, the smell is just as I started to mention, a classy. Very, very manly, very dry, extremely dry, like my mouth, so I gotta get a wine here. Cheers. À votre santé. Voilà. So it's a very dry, like this wine, very dry, aromatic, barbershop type of fragrance, and the top notes already have three of my favorite notes in there, which is lavender. You can smell lavender immediately, basil and nutmeg, but it has also some floral notes in there, carnation, geranium, definitely. As I said, basil. It has some anise as well, and we even get to a ladder, tonka, and oak moss type of scenario with some tobacco. So you can already see by these tremendous amounts of notes, and I didn't list them all, and cypress maybe as well, because there's a green aspect to it as well. Very nice together with oak moss. It is a very complex fragrance. It smells, well, last night was interesting because I had my daughter around, And I was asking her how she thinks it smells, and she gives it the thumbs down. She's 9 years old. Okay, so I asked her why? Because usually she likes, you know, these type of classy smelling fragrances, and I says, okay, let's take a different angle. What does it remind you of, this smell? And she said a wine cellar, which totally satisfied my soul. Okay, because it really smells like an old wine cellar with expensive wines being stored there. Obviously not the favorite type of smell of this new generation, okay, and this current fragrance community where everything is about, you know, sweet amber sun and tonka and vanilla and cinnamon and some aquatic notes and maybe some over the top weird vanilla. That's definitely not the type. You're gonna smell that this is a classy fragrance that has been introduced a few decades ago. That's obvious, but it does it in a almost unmatched, perfect style. It's so French and it's so urban. This is a club fragrance to me. This is a dressing up, going out, nightlife in New York or Paris or London or Berlin or wherever you want to go. Okay, this is really, you know, a high-end cocktail bar type of, but cool, not the you know, the overly fancy, because this fragrance is genuine. It's not portraying. It does not want to portray something that it is not. And the performance for this is a 2013 April 2013 batch that I have here sitting on my table. And this obviously is even earlier, way earlier. The performance is great. I really, on me, it lasts the entire day. And again, if you apply it cleverly and underneath the shirt and all that, let it work with your body heat, it will become even more prominent. The dry down will even be enhanced by the way of application and working again with your body heat. So, you know, I could probably go on for another 25 minutes about this fragrance, but to summarize it, Jazz by Yves Saint Laurent and Jean-François Lati is an evergreen, classy, backboned, urban, you know, elegant, dressed up, yet laid back, humorous, dry, kind of dark, yet it still has some freshness, so it can be worn during the day as well. Great for signature wear. It's gonna be a head turner with women above a certain age, I would say. Maybe because if they remember their father wearing this, or they think it's just sexy because they used to, you know, they already lived at the time when fragrances like this were the stars of the fragrance market. Okay, so it's an acquired taste. It's a special taste, and I'm so happy it's still around. And I wear it with tremendous joy. To me, it's very relaxing as well. This is absolutely stress-free. I mean, this fragrance is it could be an aromatherapy as well, because this just switches your mind off any stressful situation that you might have going on in your life. Okay, this is just, it puts you in a mood. You're in the bar, you have a good time, chilling, laid back, cool, nice music, jazz maybe playing, or some nice blues. Probably I could imagine that one as well very much, and you're just chilling with some friends, or like, you know, absolutely stunning, and you give it a good, you know, a good dressing up in order to match your mood and match yourself up with the classiness of this fragrance. Absolutely. So, Jazz by Yves Saint Laurent, Jean-François Lati. Merci beaucoup. What a fantastic, eternal classic. Thanks very much. Sandland, the land of sand, yeah.